A good night of Shabbos, Chavra. So, wow, Baruch Hashem. Parshas Noach. Parshas Noach, going into the Teva. Everybody knows about the Teva, but what was the Teva? So just, a fun fact, it's, Rabbi Lezer Omer that the world was created in Tishrei, and Rabbi Yehuda says Ben Nisan. So there's a machlokes when the world was created, which, technically speaking, not to say that we could have been in Pesach now, because he's saying that Bris Olam is in Nisan. Chodesh Nisan is the first month of the year, and this, as far as Bria goes. So we're in Bereshis, so we're in Noach. You have a similar also in the Torah. It says Be'etzem hayom hazeh ba Noach v'shem v'cham v'yafis. He went into the Teva and Be'etzem hayom hazeh, in the middle of the day, because the people said that if they're going to see him go in, or they could have said that they're going to see him go in, that they're going to not let him in, they're going to break it, or whatever it is. He said Be'etzem hayom hazeh, in the middle of the day, to show how powerful and how powerless the restriction is, separation is, that it has no power over certainty. It has no power over the truth. And then in Parshas Boy, it also says V'hi be'etzem hayom hazeh yatzi kol tzibus Hashem me'eretz Mitzrayim. Then be'etzem hayom hazeh, in the middle of the day is when we went out of Mitzrayim, once again to show that the koyach, the force that was holding us down, that was holding things in separation and illusion, is powerless against the truth. And then it also goes Achodesh Elechem. I think who says Rabbi Yitzchak says that it should have started with the first mitzvah, why Bereshis, Achodesh Elechem, which is in Parshas Boy, which was right before Yetzias Mitzrayim. So technically speaking, if Rosh Hashanah, if Chodesh, if Parshas Bereshis is in the beginning, is in Pesach, Rosh Chodesh. So then we're going into the 14th day. Then the 14th day of the month is when Pesach is. So this week is, technically speaking, Shabbos Agudel. So we're entering into the Teva. Going into the Teva, enter the Teva on Shabbos Agudel, which is, what is the Teva? The Teva was... it was an energetic field, of course, because as the Rebbe points out, that why did it take Noach 120 years to build the Teva? And the Eibishter asked him, like the ultimate, the creator, the Emes of Emes, told him in Avur, like, build the Teva, and then it took him time. So the answer is because he built it himself. He built it himself, and therefore it's a wonder and a miracle that he was able to accomplish it in 120 years. Which means, if you think about it, the rain did not differentiate between anything; it just wiped everything off. Any type of matter disappeared. Humans, trees, anything, everything went. Stone got aged. I mean, everything was destroyed and erased. How could it be a teva that's made out of wood that withstood this whole thing? Even though if you put the extra tar in it, like, what are we talking about? How did this thing hold? So we understand from there that it was built with kavanas, with the proper yichidim. It was an energy. It was an energy built with koiches, with an energy field. And as it says that when the animals came, the teva decided. Rashi said it. Yeah, he points it out from the Chumash. I'm not going to look for the pasuk now. Vayevoy al Noach al Teva shnayim shnayim, hikav Teva d'Ravos, vayichem al direch al. Okay, there's a Rashi that it says that whoever the Teva decided who comes in. The Teva allowed, which means that it was alata misapeches. It was a spinning wheel. It was a matter that you couldn't get in, you couldn't enter, and have this imaginary door, like made out of translucent, and then you press a button and it opens up. The energy opens up, it removes, and you're able to enter into the Teva. So once entered into the Teva, what is this Teva? So Teva is, it's a mothership that we're, just like the Beis Hamikdash, so too the Teva, you pull from it, you get koich, all types of animals, everything that sustained life after was in the Teva. So anything that was going to stay alive after was in the Teva. So you had one of everything, 7 of the Torah, 2 of the Tomei, they were all in there. And we also understand that the question is that when Ezra talks about it, how did Noach feed these animals? What did he have on top of all the animals and everything he did? He had to have food for a year for all types of animals. So the answer is that no, they did not eat. Either they had straw, but it was a whole different spiel. So the question is like, why, if that's the case, why the lion bit him? Because he came late. So even so, he had to be mindful of it, and it was an energetic transfer that he had to be mindful of, and he was vertracht for a minute, and the lion responded the way he responded. So going into the Teva, which means, and I mentioned last week that there's no Muslim, Tishrei, that's Amar Cheshbon, but that's how it was by the Mabul. During the time of the Mazel, all the mazalas all the mazalas stopped. Everything went out from being in flow, from Seder Shtalshalos, and everything stopped. What does that mean? That means there was only one presence that landed into the world, because the way it works is that when you fail on one thing, it doesn't get tougher. You get more light, more compassion comes down. Because if you failed at number 2, why should we? How we for sure that you're for sure going to fail at number 3 or at number 1 if we take away some, depending on which way you calculate from. So the ultimate oneness came in, and how it showed up on every level. Here it came down as a mabul, because water cleans, water purifies. So everything was cleaned, and the ultimate oneness was in place. And we call this Mar Cheshbon. It's called a bitter month because there's no Yom Tov in Mar Cheshbon. But really, it's the strongest month of all. It's a Ram Cheshbon. It's raising up. But Tanach HaTeva, the Teva went up after the water is coming down. It just popped up, because the ultimate Ayin is in Vel No Mazalas, is the Zachalein, Bashafer Lein, Ebishter Lein, which means that all the possibilities. We're right now, we are on the other side of the Makav. We are living in the imprint, the Rishima of the Makav of what Sukkah's left. So there was a presence for 7-8 days, and then that presence leaves, and nothing, Dovash Begdusha leaves, it always stays forever. But now it shows up in the Choshech side of it. You see it on the other side. So it can wake up from within. It's like the light is there, it saturates the whole body, lighting it up for 7-8 days with a lulav esrog and the sukkah, and then it goes out. And the coals there's a deep fire that is heated up. The coals are heated up. So, which means is that there is living within the mazalas. Those are the things in creation. They're living. They have no bechira. And then there are those things that are above the mazalas. Even if according to the outline, this is what you look like, but really you can rise above it. So there is eclipse, which means that the moon is being blocked by the sun. The moon is between Earth and sun, which really what it means is that the sun is right, fully baking the Levana, baking the moon, and then it shows up here in Malchus, which is really an opportunity for, if you can follow, is an opportunity for Atzmas Alein, where that summers are just, the matter is so, there's so much light that the matter is literally going into a softer vibration, translucent vibration. Everything is just, all the chomer, all the matter is just melting away. It's dusting everything off, and the light is just very present. And that is going into the Teva, because we can't enter into the Teva. Only those who are taken into the Teva. We are all in the Teva. You're in the Parsha, you're in the Teva. So once you're going into the Teva, which Hashem says that's the Oisius HaTorah and Tefillah, through Tefillah and prayer, there opens up the door. These spinning energies, the Lata Mesapechas, that doesn't allow you in, it blocks your vision and it blocks your feeling. Through Torah and Tefillah, gratitude, and all that other stuff, you enter in, they stop turning and you're able to enter into the Teva. You're going into the letter. That changes the dynamic of the flow of the energy. And once you're inside, you are above the mazalas. You're above from what your mazal is. It doesn't have to be anything. It could be anything. Which, on the other side, puts a big responsibility, because now you know that you can go and get what you want. Your peace, your compassion, and your connection, your dveikus, whatever it is. So, rising above the mazel. A lot of people may have experienced, colds and neck pain and headaches. And most are saying, yes, it's after Yom Tov. People are fakil. Why? Why would you be fakil after Yom Tov? Why would you have a cold? And why the neck is hurting after Yom Tov? So if you go in, it's all magnetic pulls and pushes. You have a headache today because it's a push and a pull. Yeah, because I ate something, that's why I have a headache. Well, you ate the same thing yesterday, you didn't get a headache. Or every time I eat this, I get a headache, because you are a certain type of vibration that when you eat that vibration, that blocks it, puts too much metal in your body, and it stops something, and you're in direct opposite of magnetic connection in flow of things. And that causes some pain or constipation or headaches or whatever it is. The same way the cycle is affected. So going into one is going into the letter. Yes. So the vart is that, but that is according to the mazalas. So according to these movements, the pain also there is how your day is supposed to look. But if you didn't know about it, you just said, okay, I have a headache, and you continue doing what you were doing. Or I feel pain, and I'm just going to continue walking. I don't know what it is. I didn't sleep right. That shows that you can rise above that. You're not bound to that thing. You can rise above the mazel, and that is Mar Cheshvan, that is Ram Cheshvan, that is the month of going into the Teva. It's powerful. The Torah is giving us a powerful structure to enter into. He built a Teva, then at the end of the Parsha they built a Migdal, which is Dara Floga. They also built a tower, different idea. Same idea, but in a different concept. They went to Tohem, Nukva, Tohem Rabba, they went to Shinar, the lowest place in the world, and they were trying to generate energy from a negative place. Why were they so successful as far as they got to? Because they had unity. So they used both sides. They took the unity, they connected, and they created a movement of something that is going to generate energy from a place of pain, and whichever way that was, whatever the shtick was then, that how you generated negative energy. And now it's in different things. Whatever it is that we're chasing, some other illusion of satisfaction that never pans out, that never fulfills, and never satisfies. So, yes, the body's conditioned that it needs and wants, but that is how you're going to raise that ego. How are you going to raise that sense of knowing, how are you going to raise your needs into needs of high conscience? That's the idea. He has one, he wants $200. Okay. So going into the energy of things, of course, use that to a benefit. Now that I know that this is an endless machine that constantly wants, and the way it sustains itself is by taking and doing and generating more. So what can I do to generate positive flow? So into the Teva, entering into Ayin, entering into a space of silence, entering into a space of powerful machshava, thoughts, and giving parnasa, bringing shefa. The rain is also clearing out, all stops everything. So that is the chodesh of Mar Cheshvan. That's the chodesh of Mar Cheshvan. This is to be grateful and to remember to stay positive. Yeah, I don't want to get too carried away with this Pesach thing because but there's a similarity. But you see, they're comparing it. He says B'Yisrael was in this, and then they're talking about the Chodesh is Elechem, which means that Rosh Chodesh. Yeah, okay, you can play. It's all connected. I mean, we can really go with it. It's all connected. It's not a steer at all. Pesach with Shabbos Breishis, and yeah, I'm sure if you look it up, you'll find it somewhere. Okay, have an awesome Shabbos. I think we covered everything, and everybody should have a refuah shalema, and we should understand that the healing comes from the body. It comes from inside out, and we should connect to from a place of healing and shalva and peace. Good Shabbos. Yeah, I feel like I should elaborate a little. The body is made out of these molecules, energies, whatever it is. Every time we do something, every time something happens to you, especially when we're children, that's when this energy is formed. They take on a certain shape. So if you would look at somebody that's fully aligned, he's seamless. There's no twists, there's no spins, there's no tracks. It just is. It's like beach sand, flat, straight, and it's able to receive and give. Once then it starts taking shape, which we need to. We have to come into this world, and when we are just fully straight, then we're good as nothing. You're not active, you're not triggered, you're not triggering, you're not doing anything, because the energy needs to bounce off of something. The will and the desire to have a dira b'tachtonim has its will. When it made it down here, it structured itself through tzimtzum in such a way that also we're experiencing different things that are, the nachash, lower vibration, only to trigger the higher one. But let's get to the topic here. So these things, they form. Somebody says something, it forms a different image, a different design, and then the energy runs on that, and that the whole body's full of that, and that blocks one from being able to enter into a space. And when you are in a better mood, when it's good, so the energies, these wheels are more aligned, and you're able to absorb, and you're able to see better, you're able to tolerate more, you're able to express better, and it goes back and forth. So when they showed up to the Teva, automatically their B'tzicha, whatever it was they were dealing with, whatever darkness they were dealing with, automatically their vibration, the door was closed, they couldn't enter. So we too have that, because before you enter the Teva, we are receiving, we have a lot of those, some of those, whatever it is, it's a lot more refined, Baruch Hashem, and it's blocking from being present. It's blocking one from being able to receive and see the bigger picture, because I can only receive, the vibration can only translate, I can only translate the transmission as much as whatever my capacity is at the moment. And if these wheels are, smaller wheels, the same as you see these chips in computers. They have these little dots and lines, and the electricity runs on that, and that's the brain. There's a vibration, and it bounces off of that, and that comes into the screen. So too, the same idea. So because now when the mazalas are in place, when faith, not faith, the mazel is in place, it's structured. We got so tangled up they couldn't get out of it. So he came in with a higher vibration, which is ayin came in, and when that level of oneness, when that level of truth enters into a space where there is no truth, there's just an illusion of fakeness and lie, things start exploding. They just cease to exist because it's not real. So what it looks like in this consciousness, when something that's not 100% against a truth, it just explodes when the time comes. And sometimes the time is not right, so we're stuck in that space. So when he saw Erdenal, he saw what was going on. He said, I gotta clear this up. So a higher sense of self, of Ein, entered in world into a big Yesh, something that had a huge ego, and just everything just wiped off. And this time he chose through water, because it wasn't a punishment, it was restructuring, it was a cleanup. But the Darafloge was a punishment type of thing. It's a different thing, we got to go in there. But this was a cleanup, it was a mikveh, was literally to clean. So that's why it's called Mar Cheshvan, because if you're not aware, then it's bitter, because you're dependent on your mazel. But if you understand that when there is no mazel, what is, there's just a more raw, clean vibration, which means that anything is possible. Because I'm not receiving from a place that is already limited to a certain model, a certain layout, a certain vibration, receptor, like the circle, the energy circle. I'm taking it now from Ein, and what the way we get there is when the heat is turned up to the point where my mind can't process anymore, because it's too much for me to handle, we enter into a space of full surrender. And that's where you find the Ram Cheshvan. And we did it last year too, Ram Choshen, which is Choshen is the Cheshen and the Oifet, where the Kohen Gadol carried the Choshen on his chest, and it asked a question, and it lit up. Different oisius and lights lit up, colors, the stones, they lit up, and then they translated that into whatever the message was. So walking around on the Ram Choshen in such a month where you're not bound to any setup of whatever your limitation is, and you can totally dissolve any type of boundaries, which is through entering the Teva, which is through Torah and Tefillah, davening, learning, good deeds, and that will give you the koyach to stay positive. And that changes that spin, the wheel, it slows it down or removes it completely. And even 1 minute of presence, 1 hour, entering into Shabbos in the Teva, and having a little chaim, a little wine to get you more present, that's what needs to happen or not. If you're able to do it regardless, that's fine, with a glass of milk, organic, I hope. Okay. Thank you. Have an awesome Shabbos.